morning, students. So today we can study about the cervical vertebrae. So we already told cervical vertebrae. There are 7 cervical vertebrae in our body. So among the 7 cervical vertebrae, the first cervical vertebrae and first, second, and 7th cervical vertebrae, they are atypical vertebrae, and from the second to the 6th cervical vertebrae. Okay. From second to 6th cervical vertebrae, they are typical cervical vertebrae. So typical means they possess common features. Okay, and atypical means bonds which vertebrae which has special features. Okay, other than this common feature. Okay. So first, second, and 7th cervical vertebrae are atypical vertebrae, and second to 6th vertebrae, they are the typical vertebrae. Okay. So first we can go through the typical vertebrae. Okay. So this is one typical cervical vertebrae. So we see the features of a typical vertebrae. Okay. First, same it also has the same features of a typical vertebrae. So here we can see there will be a body. Okay. And in case of cervical vertebrae, we can see this body is transversely elongated. Okay. And it is small and transversely elongated body. Yeah. And this same yesterday we have seen the thoracic vertebrae and lumbar vertebrae. So when comparing to the thoracic and lumbar vertebrae, we can see the body is small and it is transversely elongated. Body is small and it is transversely elongated. Okay. And then superior surface, here this is anatomical position actually. So when this is the superior surface. Okay. So here we can see there is a superior surface, inferior surface, and also on either side lateral surfaces. Okay. So here we can see this anterior surface and posterior surface is there. Okay, for the body. And if look at the superior surface is concave. Okay. Superior surface is concave, and on either side of the superior surface we can see it is projected or elevated upwards. Again, this one, see. Okay. So while keeping in the anatomical position, we can see this one. This is the superior surface. So lateral side of the superior surface is elevated like lips. Okay. So it is elevated like lips on either side, and it is concave, and on either side laterally there are 2 lips. Okay. Then coming to the inferior surface, so this is the inferior surface. It is actually saddle shape. Saddle shape. We have already studied the classification of joint. There we have already studied the saddle joint. So it is so we can see what is the saddle shape means. There is a concave or convex surface. Okay. So concave or convex surface. So that is saddle shape. So inferior surface is saddle shape. Okay. And we can see the inferiorly this border, the inferior surface, anterior border. Okay. Anterior border of the inferior surface is projected downward comparing to the other parts of the vertebrae. See? So this anterior border projects downward so that it can cover the intervertebral disc. Okay. Anteriorly. So this is the anterior border of the inferior surface. So these are the features of the body. So body is small comparing to the other vertebrae. Body is small and transversely elongated. Okay. Transversely elongated, and either the superior surface is concave, and on either side it is lipped upward. Okay. So then inferior surface is saddle shape, and the anterior border of the inferior surface is projected downwards to cover the intervertebral disc. Okay. So that is the body of the cervical vertebrae. And coming to the vertebral arch. So this is the vertebral arch. So see in between the vertebral arch and the body there will be foramen, that is intervertebral foramen. Okay. When comparing to the other vertebrae, so thoracic vertebrae and lumbar vertebrae, here we can see the intervertebral vertebrae foramen is larger than the body. Okay. So intervertebral foramen is larger than the body of the vertebrae. And we can see the shape of that foramen. So it is triangular in shape. In the thoracic vertebrae we already seen it is round, and in case of cervical vertebrae it is triangular in shape. Okay. Triangular shape, large in the vertebral foramen. Okay. So large vertebral foramen can be seen which is triangular in shape. Then coming to the vertebral arch or neural arch, here we can see on either side there are pedicels or pedicles can be seen. This one, this is the pedicles or the pedicels. So it is directed backward and laterally. Okay. So it is directed backward and laterally. See this one. So if we are keeping like this from superiorly, we can see it is not going straight backward. Okay. In our thoracic vertebrae, these pedicles were going straight backward, but in case of cervical vertebrae, it is going backward and laterally. Okay, pedicels that's going backward and laterally. Okay, see this one. This is the pedicels. Okay, so it is going laterally so that this vertebral foramen become larger. Okay. So it is, and it is keep on the it is attached towards the middle of the body, not in the upper part of the body. In cervical vertebrae we can see the pedicles are attached to the middle part of the body, so that the superior vertebral notch and the inferior vertebral notch are same. Okay. But in case of other vertebrae we have already seen the inferior vertebral notch is deeper and superior was shallow. Okay. But in case of the cervical vertebrae, as these pedicles are attached towards the middle part of the body, the superior vertebral notch and the inferior vertebral notch are same size. Okay. Then coming to the other features, that is the pedicels. This one, pedicels or pedicles. Okay. Then coming to the lamina. So this is the lamina. So we can see there is an elongated lamina comparing to other vertebrae. Here the lamina is long. Okay, an elongated lamina can be seen. See this one. This is the lamina. The other side. Okay. So an elongated lamina can be seen in case of cervical vertebrae. Okay. And this lamina will fuse together, and here we can see the spinous process. So this is the spinous process actually for the cervical vertebrae, and here we can see the peculiarity that it is short. Okay, when comparing to the other vertebrae, this is short, and you see the tip is bifid. That means it is divided into two. Okay, so there is a bifid spine. Okay, bifid spine. See this one, this vertebrae. So, yeah. So we can see the spine is bifid. It is divided into two. Okay. It is the peculiarity of spinous process of the cervical vertebrae. Okay, bifid spine. Okay. So this is the lamina and spine. Okay. Then comparing to the processes, here we can see the superior articular process and the inferior articular process fuse together to form a pillar laterally. Superior articular process and inferior articular process fuse together to form a pillar on either side. Okay. So it forms a pillar. So in this vertebrae also. So this one. This is the pillar. So this is superior articular process and inferior articular process. They fuse together to form a pillar here. Okay. And superior articular process possesses a facet which is directed. See, this is the anatomical position. So here we have to keep like this. So it will be projected backward and upward. Okay. So it is facet which projected backward and upward. Okay. And inferior also there will be a facet which is directed forward and inferiorly. Okay. Forward and inferiorly. One is backward and superiorly, another is forward and inferiorly. Okay. So in this one you can see. So this is the superior articular process which has a facet. This one, both facets are flat facet, both are flat, and it is directed upward and backward superiorly. Inferior facet, which is directed forward and downward. This one. Okay. So this is the articular pillar, which is formed by the fusion of superior articular process and inferior articular process. So laterally we can see there is an articular pillar. Okay. So in case of cervical vertebrae. Okay. Then next feature is the transverse process. See, this is the transverse process. So there will be peculiarity for the transverse process of cervical vertebrae. Here at the center of the transverse process we can see there is a foramen. Okay. So foramen can be seen, and this foramen is known as foramen transversarum. Foramen transversarum. See in this one. See, this is foramen transversarum. Okay. And because of this presence of this foramen, the transverse process is divided into two. So there will be an anterior root and a posterior root for the transverse process. Okay, there is an anterior root and posterior root. So both roots ends in two tubercles. So this anterior root ends in an anterior tubercle, and this posterior root ends in the posterior tubercle. Okay, and these two tubercles are connected by another transverse bar. This one, a transverse costal bar. This is known as transverse costal bar. So this anterior root and anterior tubercle and posterior tubercle are connected by a costo-transverse bar. Okay. So these are the features of the transverse process. See, the transverse process at the middle possesses a foramen that is known as foramen transversarum. Okay. And it has an anterior root and a posterior root. So this anterior root ends in the anterior tubercle, and posterior root ends in the posterior tubercle. Okay. And these two tubercles, this anterior tubercle and the posterior tubercle, are connected by a transverse bar that is known as costo-transverse bar. Okay. And in case of sixth cervical vertebrae, this anterior tubercle is large and prominent, and we can feel the pulsation of the common carotid artery opposite to the anterior tubercle of sixth cervical vertebrae. Okay. So the anterior tubercle of the sixth cervical vertebrae is prominent, and it is known as carotid tubercle. It is known as carotid tubercle. Okay. So anterior tubercle of the sixth cervical vertebrae. Okay. So we can feel the pulsation of our common carotid artery against the carotid tubercle. Okay. So that is transverse process. Okay. So these are the features of the typical cervical vertebrae. Typical cervical vertebrae, that is from the C2, that is third cervical vertebrae to the sixth cervical vertebrae. Okay. C3 to C6. Sorry, first initially I told C2, it's not C2, C3 to C6. Okay. Typical cervical vertebrae. C3 to C6. Okay. Third cervical vertebrae to the sixth cervical vertebrae. Okay. So these are the features of the typical cervical vertebrae. Okay. Now we can go to the atypical vertebrae. So this is the first atypical vertebrae, cervical vertebrae, that is known as atlas. Okay. So this is atlas vertebrae. Okay. First cervical vertebrae or atlas. Okay. And we can see it is entirely different from the typical cervical vertebrae. So it possesses some special features. Okay. So here we can see it is a ring-shaped vertebrae. It's a ring-shaped vertebrae, and the body is absent. Okay. So body is absent, and also spinous process is absent here. Okay. So body is absent and spinous process also is absent in case of the atlas vertebrae. Okay. So it's a ring shaped vertebrae and it has two arches. So it has a small anterior arch and a large posterior arch. A small anterior arch, a large posterior arch, and there are two lateral masses and there are two transverse processes. Okay, so these are the features. Okay, so the atlas vertebrae has a small anterior arch and a large posterior arch and two lateral masses and two transverse processes. Okay, then look at each features. So this is the anterior arch. So anterior arch, it is short or small, and it at the midline there is a anterior tubercle. Anteriorly there is an anterior tubercle at the midline. Then posteriorly the anterior arch possesses a facet. Here we can see there is a facet which articulates with the dense or odontoid process of the second vertebrae. This is the second vertebrae. This is known as axis vertebrae. So this axis vertebrae has a small projection. This is known as dense or odontoid body. So this odontoid body or dense which articulates with the facet like this. Okay, facet seen in the posterior part of the anterior arch like this. Okay, articulation. Okay, so there will be a facet which articulates with the dens of the second vertebrae. Okay, that is the anterior arch, and look at the posterior arch. Posterior arch is larger, and it also at the midline there will be a tubercle, posterior tubercle at the midline. Okay, so this is the posterior arch, anterior arch and posterior arch, and there will be two tubercles on either side. Lateral masses. So lateral masses, it is formed by the fusion of superior articular process and the inferior articular process. So there will be lateral masses can be seen. Okay. And the superior surface of the lateral mass, this is the lateral mass. So the superior aspect of the lateral mass, we can see there is a facet which is elongated, and a elongated facet which is concave. Okay. So concave elongated facet can be seen on the superior articular process or the superior aspect of the lateral mass. Okay. Elongated concave facet, okay, which articulates with the condyles of the occipital bone. Okay, that is occipital bone of the skull. Okay, so this will articulates with the occipital bone of the skull. Okay, and the inferior part of the lateral mass possesses round facet, and which is flat also. This will articulates with the second vertebrae, second cervical vertebrae like this. So it articulates with the second vertebrae, that is axis vertebrae. Okay. Then at the medial surface of the lateral mass, this is the medial surface. So medial surface of the lateral mass possesses, here there will be a roughened tubercle. This one, there will be a roughened tubercle on the medial surface of the lateral mass. A roughened tubercle can be seen. Okay. Then, so these are the features of the lateral mass. So lateral mass, it is a pillar shaped structure which is formed by the fusion of superior articular process and the inferior articular process. Okay. So superiorly there is an elongated concave shape facet which articulates with the occipital bone, and inferiorly there is a round flat facet which articulates with the axis vertebrae. Okay. Medially there is a tubercle, roughened tubercle can be seen on the medial surface. Okay, so these are the features. Then transverse process. So it is say on either side there will of the lateral mass. Okay, of the lateral mass, here we can see there is a transverse process which also has the foramen transversarium at the center. Foramen transversarium. This is foramen transversarium. Okay, foramen can be seen at the center. So these are the features of the first vertebrae, first cervical vertebrae. This is known as atlas vertebrae. Atlas. Okay. So this atlas vertebrae is called so called because according to the Greek mythology, the god Atlas, okay, the god Atlas bears our earth on his shoulder. Okay. So this is our first cervical vertebrae. So as the first cervical vertebrae bears the skull, okay, on above that. So because of that, this vertebrae is known as Atlas vertebrae. Okay. Because according to the Greek mythology, the Atlas god bears earth on its shoulder. Okay. So like that, our Atlas vertebrae is bearing our skull above that. Okay. So because of that, it got the name Atlas. Okay. So that is the Atlas vertebrae. So the next is our axis vertebrae. So this is the axis vertebrae. Okay. So second cervical vertebrae or axis vertebrae. So it is known as axis vertebrae because it has an odontoid process. This is the odontoid process or dens, which acts as an axis. Okay. So this is the dens or odontoid process. So you can see it is attached to the body of the second vertebrae. So this odontoid process is fused with the body of the second vertebrae. Actually, this odontoid process is considered as the lost body of the first vertebrae. Okay. So it is considered as the lost body of the first vertebrae actually. Okay. So that is odontoid process. This is the odontoid process. So axis vertebrae can be identified by seeing this odontoid process. Okay. And look at the body of this vertebrae. So here we can see superiorly the body of the vertebrae will be axis vertebrae is fused with the odontoid process. Okay. Inferiorly we can see the inferior surface articulates with the endovertebral disc, and we can see the anterior border of the inferior surface is same like the typical vertebrae. It is going downward, projected downward. Okay. And the anterior, this is the anterior surface. So the anterior surface of the second vertebrae, at the midline we can see there is a ridge on midline, and on either side there are two depressions can be seen. Yep. And on either side of the body, here we can see there will be superior articular process with facets can be seen. Superior articular process facet can be seen encroached towards the superior aspect of the body. Okay, so this will articulate with the first vertebrae like this. Yep. So on either side of the dens we can see there will be superior articular facet. Okay. That is the body, features of the body and dens. And the vertebral arch, so here we can see the pedicels or pedicles are concealed or it is overlapped by the superior articular process and its facet. Okay, below that we can see this is actually the pedicels or pedicles. Okay, on either side. So superiorly it will be covered by the superior articular process and its facet. Okay, so on either side this is the pedicels. Okay. Then lamina, so this is the lamina of the axis vertebrae. So lamina is thick when comparing to all other vertebrae. Lamina is thick, and also we can see it ends in the spinous process. Spinous process also stout and strong spinous process, which is also bifid. Okay. So this is the lamina and this is the spinous process and lamina. Okay. Then coming to the transverse process, so here we can see transverse process also. It is a small and it also bears the foramen transverse area. And inferior articular process, facet and process. Here we can see posterior to the transverse process there will be an inferior articular facet, lower portion of the lamina. Okay. So just posterior to the transverse process, here we can see the inferior articular process. Superior articular process can be seen on either side of the dens. Okay. And the superior aspect of the body of the second vertebrae. This is the superior articular process and its facet, but inferior articular process or facet can be seen posterior to the transverse process. This is the transverse process. So posterior to the transverse process, here we can see near to the lamina we can see the inferior articular process and its facet. So these are the features of the second vertebrae or axis vertebrae. So it possesses a body and there will be a dense or odontoid process. This odontoid process is considered as the lost body of the first vertebrae, and there is a stout on either side superior articular process can be seen. Then below that there will be pedicels or pedicles can be seen, and the transverse process with foramen transversorium, and there will be a strong lamina and a strong and stout spinous process. Okay. So these are the features of the second vertebrae or axis vertebrae. So this is the next or the seventh cervical vertebrae. Okay, next atypical vertebrae. So here we can see this is the seventh cervical vertebrae. Okay, here the body and all features we can see are same like our cervical vertebrae, transversely elongated body, and but we can look at the spine of the seventh cervical vertebrae. It is elongated spine. Okay, so it is a large elongated spine when comparing to all the cervical. See, this is the cervical vertebrae spinous process. See, so it resembles the spine of our thoracic vertebrae. Okay. So it has a elongated large spine. Because of this spine, the seventh cervical vertebrae is known as vertebrae prominens because of the prominent spine. Okay. Vertebrae prominens. Okay. And also it is not bifid. The spine is not bifid. So we can feel this vertebrae prominens or tip of the seventh cervical vertebrae in the lower part of our neck region. Okay, first bony prominence we can say, feel on the lower part of the neck. So that is our seventh spine of the seventh cervical vertebrae. Okay. And another change is we see the transverse process. There is a prominent transverse process also, and it also possesses the anterior root and posterior root. But the anterior root is small when comparing to the posterior root. Posterior root is prominent and ends in a tubercle. Here the anterior tubercle is absent. Anterior tubercle will be absent, and posteriorly posterior tubercle, prominent posterior tubercle and posterior root can be seen. Sometimes this anterior root itself will be absent. Okay. And in case of all the other cervical vertebrae, this foramen transversorium, okay, through the foramen transversorium or vertebral artery passes. Okay, so vertebral artery passes through this foramen transversorium. But in case of seventh cervical vertebrae, vertebral artery does not passes through this foramen transversorium. Okay, so these are the features of the seventh vertebrae prominens. Okay, so it possesses both features of the cervical vertebrae and also thoracic vertebrae. Okay. So that's all about the cervical vertebrae. Okay, cervical vertebrae.